week's episode of Naruto Shippuden, Kakashi and Obito must deal with the most devastatingly powerful jutsu of all time, Flashback no Jutsu. Yes, this week's episode was basically 20 minutes of flashback and 5 minutes of actual real story moving things along. What I will say is, even though it is flashbacks, some of it does look kinda cool, more in the first half of the episode, which is in a continuation of last week's story, where Kakashi, Rin, Obito, and Minato are going on this mission to find the secret scroll. We get a lot of ninja action. It's okay to say the least. It's when they actually get to the Kakashi Gaiden stuff that I was actually a little disappointed, because they could have totally just reused the animation or the old shots that they had from the Kakashi Gaiden special and included them in this episode. And that would have been a much better idea, because the animation in that special and the artwork was way better than what you see in this week's episode. But this is all just me nitpicking. Let's talk about the good stuff in this week's episode, which is the last couple minutes, which is all about Obito and Kakashi teaming up against Madara Uchiha, who's trying to use his powers to completely wipe them off the face of the planet. And the good thing is, now that Obito and Kakashi are working together, they're actually going to combine their Kamui abilities, and that's going to allow them to move much quicker. And they use this attack, and they send Obito into his weird dimensional world, where he's actually going to help out Naruto. And this was probably my favorite part of the episode, when he was talking about the fact that he always sort of walked uneven. He was never able to walk a straight path. But finally, it has led him to Naruto, to his actual redemption. It's a really well done moment. And then of course it all ends with Guy just appearing out of nowhere, glowing green, looking like a badass, and getting ready to fight against Madara Uchiha. But we're gonna have to wait until next week to see that, and we're also going to get some flashbacks with Guy, which were in the manga version, and I can't wait to see them, because they're going to be really awesome. You can see some teasers for those in the actual intro of the show. Otherwise, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? Skip the first 20 minutes, watch the last 5. There is one flashback at the very end that was in the manga version, where you have the scene where Rin is trying to basically make Kakashi and Obito stop fighting, and it worked well. It was a nice segue back into the action. The first half of the episode, though, just really didn't do too much for me. In fact, while I was watching the first half, I was actually thinking to myself, couldn't they have just re-shown the Kakashi Gaiden and would have pretty much gotten like the same gist of what they're trying to say right here? And right after that, we get more Kakashi Gaiden flashbacks. But at least all the stuff at the end is pretty exciting. The music cues are good. Madara is still as intimidating and ridiculous as ever. And Guy showing up might be the most manly thing that's happened in this entire arc. And just the fact that they are about to battle is so freaking exciting. This is a moment that, as a Naruto fan, I've really been waiting for, and I hope that they're able to do it justice, because the preview for the next episode doesn't look all that elaborate. Like, the animation, the artwork doesn't look all that insane, although the next episode could be more focused on Guy's flashback before they get to the real big battle between Guy and Madara. All I know is, the hype is real, I'm excited, but this week's episode just didn't do too much for me. It's the type of episode that I can really only recommend for the most hardcore Naruto fans, so definitely check it out if you really love the series. Otherwise, you could probably skip this episode. The only problem is, there are some important story elements at the very end of this week's episodes, which is kind of a shame, because that means you kind of have to watch it if you want to stay in the loop, or hopefully at the beginning of next week's episode they'll just do like a full-on recap, in which case I can finally say, just skip this episode. Otherwise, it was just okay. What I will say is, I'm glad that they are done with these Obito-Kakashi flashbacks, because it's time for the war to really kick into full gear. I'm excited, you guys should be too, but this week's episode was not really that great. So I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. Definitely not my favorite episode from this arc, but I'm really pumped to see what they're going to do next. So check it out, Naruto fans. Everybody else, just stay away. So, I didn't really care for this episode that much. But what about you guys? Did you like this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? Did you have a favorite moment? What do you hope to see in the battle between Guy and Madara and the rest of the Naruto Shippuden anime series? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with all of your friends, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews as they are released. You guys can also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby. In this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden,
Starting over?
I am. Fuck!